Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Empire of the Full Moon. I'm your host, Mike Cadaver. And even though it's been a little while, I am still here to talk everything Charles Band, his movies. We have a couple of things coming up soon where it's going to kind of diverge from that. But today we're going to be talking about a movie again. Super interesting movie called Blood Dolls from 1999. Now before I get into it, before we talk about that, I need you to subscribe because it'll make me happy. You'll be happy knowing that you made me happy, and then I like to make these videos to make you happy. I don't know if that works all exactly how I just said it, but let's just pretend it does, and go ahead and subscribe, will you? That'd be great. So let's talk about Blood Dolls. Not only is this movie in and of itself crazy, okay? I mean, we're talking about a film where an eccentric billionaire was born in a petri dish. He has an abnormally small head and the eclectic company he keeps. But this movie had a few things peripherally related that makes it a little bit kind of special. And the ambitions were high, the expectations were high for Full Moon. But unfortunately, the realities didn't match. But there's a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll get into all that stuff later. And I have not heard this before. But so this came out in 1999, and I'm sure somebody's made this observation before. But to me, this is the Kushner-Locke Bizarro trilogy for Full Moon. The Bizarro trilogy isn't any kind of an official name. It's just something that I came up with. But basically, during the Kushner-Locke era, 3 of the most unique and bizarre Full Moon movies were released, okay? And we've talked about, I think, this will be the third of the 3. So the first one, Head of the Family from 1996. We got Myron Stackpole, and we have his whole band of crazy, what do you call those? Just like Bizarro people. That's the name, I guess. The second movie is Hideous from 1997. Again, a very strange, crazy, eclectic cast of characters. That one's from 1997. And now we have Blood Dolls, right? This completes the trilogy. In my opinion, like I said, I'm sure that people have noticed this before, but I'm not sure if anybody has given it a name, or if you have, if it already has a name, then yeah, I'm not aware of it. So, but let me know if you do. Okay, so anyways, it's not like these are all exactly the same. I feel like it's more of a kind of a vibe match that they've got going on. They're all very unique. I mean, let's talk about the Stackpoles in Head of the Family, where basically it's just these 3 people trying to make a bunch of money, rule this town, and they're just a bunch of freaks. We got the big-headed guy. We got, all their very unique caricature. The way they present themselves is great. Obviously, Hideous, we talked about that too. In essence, it's a couple of what do you call it? Biological anomalies, collectors, and then they wake up and they do the doll thing. It's crazy. But this thing is also equally as batshit crazy as any of those were. But like I said, I'll talk about that in a minute. But for now, let's get into it by watching the trailer for Blood Dolls from 1999. Let's go.
Toast. Founder of the feast. Travis's $1 billion loss is our $1 billion gain. Mr. Harrison, you.
I must now inform you that I am extremely displeased. Your failure compels me to take direct action to remedy this dire situation.
Now, those idiots think that we've checkmated Virgil Travis, but I know better. He's still in the game.
Virgil Travis is going to try to eliminate all of us.
These are my latest acquisitions. Don't think of them as competitors. Think of them as new weapons.
Who's first? Hell, here we come.
Mr. Mascaro, let's begin the sequence. I don't suppose there is any more need for secrets between us.
All right, everybody, you just watched the trailer for Blood Dolls, 1999. IMDb has this at a 4.6 currently. Running time's around 84 minutes. It was written and directed by our guy, Charles Band. The reason I'm even doing this video right now, just because I love his stuff so much. And just a heads up, this is, it just shows kind of the best of Charles Band, kind of the best of his ideas, of his imagination, and of his building the characters. It's wild. Anyways, it starred Jack Maturin as Virgil Travis, Deborah Mayer as Moira Yulin, William Paul Burns as Mr. Mascaro, Warren Draper as Harrison Yulin, Nicholas Worth as George Warbeck, Jodie Cody as Mercy Shaw, Phil Fondacaro, our favorite, Hylas. We had Naomi McClure as Cindy Agami, Jack Forbes as Squires, Jason Pace as Howard Loftus, Jay Parody as Shirley, and then we got there's actually a whole girl band in this. So we got Vanessa Taylor as Cotton Baby, Yvette Lara as Razor Baby, Persia White as Black Baby, and Jay Parody as Shirley. Sorry, I didn't mention that one. But we also have Matt Corby as Warback Security. And I just named off more characters than I typically will for a movie like this. But the thing is this movie has, there's not a ton of characters. I mean, there's more than like 4 or something like that, where we've had movies that have had very few characters in it. But this one, they all matter. And we're going to talk about them all. Anyway, let's get into the plot. Blood Dolls centers around Virgil Travis, a reclusive and eccentric billionaire with a grotesquely undersized head. Some would say the size of an avocado. It's a result of experimental treatments in his childhood by his quote-unquote mother, living in isolation in a sprawling mansion. Virgil is a deeply disturbed individual who derives pleasure from inflicting suffering and humiliation. His loyal companions are Hylas, a dwarf butler with unwavering devotion, and Mr. Mascaro, a menacing henchman with a painted clown-like face and subdued, imposing presence. Virgil has quite the setup. In his home, he keeps an all-female rock band that acts as his personal Spotify. All he has to do is call out a number, and with some prodding, read electrocuting, from Hylas, Phil Fondacaro, they'll play whatever he wants, whenever he wants, but not necessarily because they want to. I also have to mention that if you've seen this before, and you'll get this totally, that this band is dumber than Pavlov's dog, because at least the dog learned the lesson early on, while every time Travis wants him to play, they won't do it until after they get shocked. Anyway, the plot kicks into gear when Virgil learns that 2 business associates, Mr. Wadsworth and Miss O'Malley, betrayed him in a corporate scheme. Well, needless to say, this enrages Mr. Travis and throws him headfirst into a mission of vengeance. By the way, no pun intended. Well, it wouldn't be a full moon feature if it didn't get even more bizarre than it already is. Turns out that Travis has a machine that will turn regular people into crazy racial characters of themselves. Virgil creates and unleashes his latest creation, a trio of sentient murderous dolls that he's crafted with a mix of science and occult practices. These dolls, Pimp, a slick-talking hustler, Sideshow, a grotesque carnival-inspired figure, and Misfortune, a seductive Asian femme fatale. All are small but deadly, designed to carry out Virgil's bidding with ruthless efficiency. Much as the norm for full moon, each of these is unique and deadly. We love the dolls, of course. As Travis and the dolls embarked on their own operation for vengeance, not everything is as it seems. Turns out Moira and Harrison Yulin do their best scheming when they're engaged in some serious BDSM, and boy does it get a little gnarly. As more is uncovered by Travis, we learn that there's more intrigue than is obvious. Who's pulling the strings when it comes to the plot against Virgil Travis? Can Travis actually find love, even though he's horribly disfigured, meaning he's got the head the size of an avocado? Is Travis's tiny head any indication of any other small heads he has issues with? Find out by watching Blood Dolls from 1999. Okay, let's first talk about the movie, the good and the bad. I mean, obviously, I chose it for the show. I love this movie. But yeah, like I said, but there are a few things that I did not care for. But let's get in with the good things. The quirky characters, obviously. The bizarre situations, just the plain absurdity of the whole setup. The absurdity of who's doing what, who these characters are. And the dolls, which I love, are potentially offensive. And now I'm going to play a quick thing, but if you remember from last time, I did actually have a doll from this movie. This is the one that just came out. If you watch the last video that apparently people didn't love as much, but I just talked about some of the stuff that I have from Full Moon, and that was one of it. But here's a quick commercial for this guy here that Full Moon put out.
You owe me $50.
I lost my wallet.
You better pay up now, or else.
Or else what?
Who is the doll that stands 12 inches tall in platform shoes? You're damn straight as Pimp. You better have his cash, or he'll bust a cap all up in your ass. That's Pimp.
Okay, so I did mention BDSM. While it's not as explicit as it could be, it's a big part of the movie. And not only that, it's funny because how it would have been pretty easy to leave all that out, right? Basically, it illustrates the personality of Maura Yulin and that she's a cutthroat, strong woman and likes to be in control. I feel like there's other ways to maybe illustrate that, but the thing is no, this is Full Moon, okay? And this is what we do. We do the weirdest stuff and we put the weirdest stuff in, and yeah, so that works out like that. I do love the fact that Phil Fondacaro literally gets thrown 2 times, flies through the air both times, like he gets hit with a guitar and goes flying. Okay, I mean, can you do that to a little person? I'm afraid to say the wrong word for little person. I don't know what the PC term is, but I mean, even though this is 1999, I'm sure that you can't just go be throwing around little people left and right. Anyways, like I said, Phil Fondacaro's Hylas, his character, unabashedly torturing his prisoners, like the band, to get them to do his bidding. I think that the main thing that got me to laugh out loud is in the very beginning, a few business partners of Travis walk in. And this sets the tone for the whole movie, in my opinion, right? Hylas opens the door, Fondacaro, and the dude's first reaction was to just lay down and pat him on the head. Of course, Hylas takes offense, and I couldn't help it, but I'm just like, here we go, man. And it was great. But by the way, I would be remiss if I did not mention that Phil has one of the greatest perms ever put to screen in this movie, and it's great. Like I mentioned earlier, it feels like the spiritual sequel to Head of the Family and Hideous, the Bizarro trilogy. I don't know if that sounds a little contrived, but there's different characters. There's no storylines that cross, but dude, the feel of utter absurdity in these films is just crazy. Like I said, Myron Stackpole and Virgil Travis, I swear, could be cousins. They're always, like, the way they speak, they're waxing poetic about their plight and what's going on. And shoot, if they aren't the most eloquent speakers in the Full Moon universe, okay? The small head on Mr. Travis cracks me up. It's part of the time, like, depending on the angle, it's a plastic head that you see from the side or from behind. And there's even a part where he gets a kiss that cracks me up. But part of the time, it's Christopher Logan, the actor who played Travis, wearing a fake and oversized shoulders and clothes, stuff like that. Man, I love it. And also, one of the most bizarre thing is that Mr. Mascaro, he's got this very serious and solemn personality. When he takes off his clown makeup, he feels like he's wearing the mask because the clown is who he really is, okay? Now, couple things. The one thing that I didn't like so much, and I'll talk about the irony of this in a little bit. So you have to realize it's 1999. And for those of us who were old, I mean, you know, getting on in age in the 90s, it was an interesting time for music. I mean, like once the saddest thing in the world, in my opinion, was, I mean, I liked a lot of the grunge and alternative stuff, but man, did I miss that hair metal. But if you realize the grunge came in, right, then the alternative started kicking in. And the alternative was kind of weird because I remember in the 90s that you basically just had to have one hit and you could put out a full album and people would buy it. You didn't even have to be that good. But I also understand there's people who feel the same way about any music trends, maybe even including the hair metal stuff, which is wild to me because I love that. Anyways, it did get watered down to the point where Alice in Chains turned into Creed. Okay, so, and I know for all you Creed fans, listen, I like him now too, fine, whatever. but you have to realize that the two bands do not compare. Now, the reason I bring all that stuff up is because the music that the girls played kind of was a snore fest, man. It was like a weak L7 ripoff, trying to be edgy, but it just kind of was lazy and boring, man. It wasn't interesting. It wasn't like sexy. I mean, the girls were hot, but that's just the one part. It's like, and to be clear, I'm not referring to Richard Band's score in any way. So it's just the band's music. They played it, and I was just like, oh dear, this is not awesome. This is ironic for a couple of reasons, because Charles Band had big plans for this girl band, right? He was planning on creating a movie soundtrack with the girls' music. And here's a little excerpt from one of the great books that you can tell that I've been using this. Got a few bookmarks here, stuff like that. But it came from the video aisle, Dave J. William S. Wilson and Torsten Dewey. It has some information on this. Basically, the Blood Dolls, as they became known as, were poised to be promoted as the anti-Spice Girls and embark on a tour of the U.S. They even had a legit manager, Miles Copeland. He was a manager of the Police and ran IRS records. They produced stuff for people like R.E.M., the Bangles, Berlin, the Cramps, Dead Kennedys, and the Go-Go's. However, it kind of all fell apart when one of the band members, Vanessa Taylor, who was a former stripper, had actually starred in Femalian and Femalian 2 for Full Moon, who I think played the Cotton Baby, or it was, I can't remember exactly which one it is, but I think it was Cotton Baby. She decided to get her attorney involved and to have the attorney take a look at the band's business dealings. So he looked at it and said, man, this is a pretty crappy deal. So she wanted more money. And of course, we all know that Full Moon is as cheap as they come. Not that that's a bad thing. He's done really great things with not that much money, but it just became too expensive for Charles Band's ambitions. And I hate to harp on this, right? But I just can't imagine that they would have been able to be successful on the strength of their music. But that's just me. That is just me, and I hate to even talk crap about it, but that's just me. I did not care for their music. I just thought it was boring. Another wild thing about this whole movie is that Penelope Spheeris, you'll know her from the director of Wayne's World in 1992, Suburbia from 1993. She even did Black Sheep with Chris Farley. But more importantly, especially in this context, is she directed a movie called The Decline of Western Civilization. She did parts 1 through 3 even. Some of the best and most in-depth documentaries about the music scene of all time. My favorite, obviously, is part 2, the heavy metal years. It was a lot of that hair metal LA scene things, and you watch that, and basically what was going on is she was planning on making a documentary about low-budget filmmaking and about the music that was in this and what they intended to do with it. She was filming a documentary about this. It was called Hollyweird, right? The problem is because of everything that was going on, just so you know, if you get the Blu-ray, which I do have the Blu-ray, and it's here somewhere, and I will show you. It's in my pile of newly purchased stuff. But so here's the Blu-ray, and if you look at it, there is a bunch of stuff on it. And there is a 6-minute promo for this Hollyweird, right? And you get some of the interviews with the people, even the band. You get the what's her name? You get Vanessa Taylor talking about the whole thing with the plans for the band and all this stuff.
There's no contract signed. I have an attorney. I'm not looking to cause any trouble with anybody, you know what I mean? But there's an attorney that's in my life that looks out for me, and he took over the thing with all 3 of us girls.
They can't release the movie if you don't sign it.
Exactly.
Well, that's power, isn't it?
Yes, baby.
You got boob power and...
pussy power.
And
attorney power.
Thank you. We're done.
people. You get Phil Fondacaro on there admitting that Charles Band doesn't always pay him on time, but I digress. Basically, it showed her behind the scenes, kind of filming stuff, talking to some of the actors, and it just became out as like a 6-minute promo. Unfortunately, that's really all they ever had. I think basically what happened is all the stuff, the band, the record, and the record and the tour died. It killed the momentum that the documentary had, and that burns me more than anything because it's kind of a bummer. I mean, I really would have loved to see what happened with that. Penelope Spheeris is no joke, man. I mean, I haven't seen the third part of her, The Decline of Western Civilization, because it's all about the crust punks and the homeless, and I'm not a big fan of that stuff at all. So it's like, I'll let the crust punks have that. The homeless crust punks and their music that I don't care for. Anyway, but the thing is I think it would have done a lot for the momentum of Full Moon, especially in this Kushner-Locke era, right? I understand contracts, making money, all that stuff. I totally get it. But that was a huge bummer. And I think that potential for what could have been is really something that really bums me out. But at least we have the movie. The movie's great. I really, really enjoyed it. It's just fun. It's bizarre. The Blu-ray has some cool stuff to watch on it. They have a Blood Dolls music video, Pain. It's called Pain, and it's pain to listen to because they just basically try to be sultry, and I'll put some of that stuff in maybe, but it's bad. There's some bloopers. Like I said, the Hollyweird promo. I wish that they made that, like I said, but at least this little 6-minute thing, there was a good enough stuff on it to make it worth watching. Charles Band was talking about what's going on. Phil Fondacaro, like I said, saying that Charles didn't always pay him on time. Deborah Dion was talking a little bit. And it was good to see her. Showed the Asian doll's boobs, so that's good. But, and also, like I said, I shouldn't be upset with Vanessa Taylor talking about the lawyer situation. I would have hated for her to get into a deal where it's a bad kind of. I would have loved it. I would have loved the the documentary anyway. There's a video zone, cast interviews with Charles, trailers, all that kind of stuff. All in all, great movie. I loved it as usual. But do me a favor, that's really all I got for this one. Like I said, subscribe, go to thecorpsecollective.com, see some of my other projects going on there. I got the Corpse Cast, I got some, coming up, I got another show called Mike Cadaver's Horror Pub Trivia, where you can go ahead and listen to some trivia or watch some trivia and play along on your phones. But for that one, I guess that's it. For this one, that's it. So I'll catch you guys later.